She's going to share how she has been successful at approaching this real difficult sort of world that we're in with AI and doing it conscientiously and doing it the right way. So please welcome Jules Costa.
So the three kind of core themes, core trends that we're seeing, hyper-personalization, AI agents, and redefining productivity. There's a lot that can and will be changed by this, lead identification, market optimization, et cetera. I'm not gonna go too far into the details of them because again, things are changing so fast. If I tried to give you specific tools, specific tactics, they're gonna be obsolete by 6 months. So this is more approach-based, strategy-based. How can you stay nimble while things are changing? Before I jump into that, hello, my name is Jules Costa. I am the managing director at Ignite AI, which is a community for AI builders. So this is my bread and butter. Every day I'm talking to the people who are making the tools that you might be looking at. I'm talking to the people who make the tools for the tools, things like Cohere and other AI-based marketplaces. And Ignite started as a marketing initiative for Reliable Group, which is a 50-year-old IT firm based in New York. There's 50 years of emerging tech that is now being codified. These strategies and ideas into this community. I'm very excited to be here. So first trend, hyper-personalization, right? It used to be that content was generalized. I write a book, I write a newspaper article, I can make multiple copies of that book, I can make multiple copies of that newspaper article, but everyone's gonna get the same thing. We moved into the era of the internet and things became slightly more personalized. These are things that everybody here is likely familiar with. Personas, changing headlines, everything that you A/B test, right, fits into this personalized era. But now we're moving into something very new, which is hyper-personalization. This is not only changing little things about pieces of content, this is generating new content based on a user need. And this is happening in real time. And that's something that AI is going to make very possible, specifically generative AI. The second trend is AI agents. So AI agents, I would say not quite there yet, but very likely to be there in the next 6 to 18 months. AI agents are going to span across tools. When David, for example, was mentioning something that could search for flights and book that flight for you, that's where AI agents are coming into place. But they can come into place across your whole ecosystem. So think about all of the different tools that you have going on. An AI agent would be able to, for example, take a piece of data from a Google sheet or an Excel sheet and generate an image based off of that piece of data. And you could Slack your AI agent and ask them to do that, or send them a Teams message, whatever your preference is there. And so AI agents make things make multi-step tasks extremely possible. And that brings us to productivity. We are entering an era where productivity means something very different than it does now. What you can do in an hour with the right AI tools is insanely different than what's traditionally been possible. So Harvard Business School did a really interesting study where they asked 750 consultants specifically to complete 18 tasks, and they completed these tasks at 25% faster and 43% higher quality. And what's super interesting about this graph that you're seeing right here is that they split bottom performers and top performers. And the bottom performers had a 43% jump. So a low performer with AI is performing at the same level as a high performer without AI. And then high performers with AI also get a boost. It's not as significant of a boost, 17%, but that's still pretty good, right? So just by giving your team the right AI tools, you're already up-leveling your whole organization, right? You're turning weakest links into high performers. So what to do with all this, right? Kareem Lakhani has a great quote. If generative AI is the new bicycle for the mind, then we need to figure out how to learn to ride this new bicycle. And it is like a bicycle, right? The first time you get on a bike, you're kind of wobbly, you're falling, it's taking you much longer than it would to probably walk somewhere, right? But as you learn how to get on this bike and cycle faster and learn how to use this tool, you're going to go faster and faster and faster. So think about all of these things as a bicycle that your mind is using to accelerate. So a few approaches that Reliable Group uses with clients and that now Ignite is codifying and sharing with our community. Very first thing, all teams are now hybrid teams. There's no such thing as a solely human team. And when I say hybrid, I don't mean like in person or in the office. What I mean is AI partners with human partners. FutureWorks got its name from creating $1 million pipeline in 30 days. And the part of how they did this is they paired up all of their human team members with an AI team member, right, in quotes. And what's really important is to assign AI some kind of specific role. So you don't just want to use it the way that you would use Google, right? Like, oh, I have a question, let me pop it in there. They want to train it to act like a team member. If you use ChatGPT has the function where you can change the name of your chats. In our organization, for example, each chat has a specific role, right? So here's our AI copywriter, here's our AI trainer, here's our AI whatever. And what that does is that it helps not only train the AI, but it helps train you as well, right? You're trained to go to specific chats for specific tasks. What this kind of team structure also does is it allows the humans to go up the ladder a little bit. So the AI, right? It's not advanced enough to act as a senior, whatever, writer, developer, insert role here, but it can act like a junior specialist or an intern, right? And what having AI as a team member does is it allows the humans to come up a little bit as managers, as directors, think about more of a strategic vision. And so the goal here is really to get the human partners up on that ladder, up on that scale. So with hybrid teams come hybrid workflows. And as you can see, most of this is blue, right? AI does very little by itself right now. AI agents is going to make a lot of this turn a little bit more yellow. But in conjunction with AI, a lot of these tasks become much faster, right? And so it takes something that originally could have taken 30 days, now it takes 10 days. But the important thing is that anything that relies on relationships needs to be purely human. So you see these oranges, the check-ins and the presentations. Human beings are big value in this new world. Definitely strategy and definitely long-term vision, but most importantly, relationships. That is something that even if AI could do well, it probably shouldn't, right? This is where we add value. And the big question that maybe some of your team members are asking, and maybe we've asked ourselves, is AI going to take our job? And resoundingly, the answer is no. The most important part of the job is not what you do, it's how you think, right? Tasks can be automated. Even tasks that require some level of logical thinking will be automated with AI agents. And So the value here is not what can an AI do or not do. It's what can you tell it to do in order to complete a task. Ethan Mollick has a really great framework about roles as bundles of tasks. So every role is a collection of tasks, right, that need to be completed. So you take a copywriter, for example, and a copywriter needs to do research and do interviews and put all those interviews in one document, and then et cetera, to produce the writing, right? So those are bundles of tasks. What we do with our team members is we sit down and we say, okay, let's list what tasks fit into that bundle. Where can we hybridize that to make things go faster? And how can we also extend some of your skill set into related tasks? So for example, I sat down with our copywriter. She said, okay, well, a big part of my job that takes a lot of time is following up with people for answers. And I said, great, let's hybridize that, right? Like, let's get the AI to be that kind of interviewer researcher. You tell them who you need to talk to and what information you need to get, and we'll teach it how to ask follow-up questions. And so that took a big chunk of her time. And of course, everything's going to still need to be vetted, and she's still going to use that as a human being, and she might have to follow up with a few of her own questions. But that already reduced those blue circles for her. It reduced the amount of time that her core tasks were taking. Another one of her challenges was, okay, well, every time I put a piece of collateral out, I'm waiting for the design team to get back to me with images. And I said, great, okay, let's create some guidelines for how you can generate images that still fit into our brand. And using the brand guidelines, et cetera, we were able to extend her related tasks a little bit, so she didn't have to have that downtime waiting for the design team to get back to her. I was asked to talk about legal considerations, and I will preface this by saying I'm not a lawyer. I don't have that background, but there are a few things that we keep track of, and we do work with really awesome lawyers. We have a lot of awesome lawyers in our network. So a few key things to look at. One is authorship. Who is the author of this thing? Who owns it? Who created it? And human authorship is really, really big, especially for copyright. That's kind of already fixed. Is something needs to be human in order for it to be considered copyrightable, even if you're just editing something, changing a word, changing a color, et cetera, that is considered a human contribution. The second is that consent is key when training models. So don't train models off shady data, is basically the core there. And it's not very clear whether users are going to be held reliable for what they generate using tools. So this is something that you definitely want to get your legal teams to look at when you're signing up for Stability, Midjourney, those kinds of things, is what are they willing to be liable for? OpenAI kind of has a clause already that they'll take on a specific dollar amount of liability. Whenever you're using a tool, especially if you're going to be delivering something to an end client, definitely check out those clauses to make sure that you're covered. But last year alone, the total number of AI-related regulations grew by 56%. That's not really ending. So anybody who tells you that they know exactly where things are going is selling snake oil, right? It's important to just stay in line with ethics and values. Leon Furs has a great framework for of AI ethics, and AI ethics is its own field of study, but these are 9 really great places to start. And anything that you already value, anything that you're already prioritizing, make sure you continue to prioritize that as you add AI tools into your stack. And then finally, opportunities, right? You may be seeing a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that you could do with your data. You might be thinking about, well, do we build a chatbot, or do we, build a new experience online? And I would say always look at explainability and interpretability first, because that has to do with usability. If you can't explain it to your end client, or if your end client can't understand it, then it probably is not a great project to take on. And then the second consideration is think about your existing data. We all went through the big data phase, data is king, et cetera. But you don't need a whole lot of data to do really cool things with AI. So, and remember that words are data and imagery is data, right? So I'm not just talking about like numbers and metrics, whatever. I'm talking about internal documentation, emails even, Slack messages. All of that counts as data when you're thinking about next steps of what might be interesting to do. One of the members in our community, he created a bot of himself because he realized he's the CEO of a big grocery chain, and he realized that he was spending a lot of time answering questions. How would you approach this? He created a bot with a few frameworks that he uses to evaluate opportunities, challenges, et cetera. And his kind of MO to his team was ask the bot first. Like, ask the bot first. If that doesn't answer your question, then come to me, and it saves him a lot of time. But the most important thing that I'm gonna leave you with is FAFO. Has anyone heard this term before? I know Christy has. So I won't censor myself here. It's fuck around and find out. You gotta get your hands dirty. As we transition into this new era, the people that are going to win are the people who have leaders that are willing to actually test out the tools, understand what they're about. Trying to delegate AI and how AI tools are used in your business is like trying to hire an SEO specialist without ever having typed something into Google, right? Imagine somebody who's used to looking at things at a library. They're going to be like, oh, the Dewey Decimal System is right, a great way to organize, and there's going to be no synergy there. So get on whatever tools. These are my favorites. Perplexity is a search tool. Exa is a search tool. Pi is more of like a ChatGPT equivalent. But get on these tools and use these tools to search questions about AI. To David's point, if you're Googling how to use AI, you're already 10 steps back, right? So get in there. Start with a few terms. If I was starting all over again, I would start with these. I don't know why my slides are a little messy, but RAG, NLP, tokenization, chunking, hyper-personalization, and AI agents, but also ask questions, input the information that you feel comfortable inputting. Of course, privacy is always a concern, but you can speak in general terms and ask, I have 10 team members and I need this to happen. How do I make it happen, right? These are questions that chats can answer for you now. And here are some Kickstart guidelines. I'll talk more about these at the breakout session. But for now, that is it. Thank you so much.